Cool. All right. So everyone, welcome again to another edition of the Founder Wisdom Podcast. We have Will Richman today. He's the co-founder and CEO of Growth Genius, Toronto-based SaaS tool, which is pretty cool. It's about outreach. He's going to tell you a bit more about that in an instant. So Will, can you introduce yourself? Can you introduce Growth Genius to our audience?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be on the show here. Yeah, a little bit about me and Growth Genius. So Growth Genius is an all-in-one white label sales automation tool. So it has an audience of about 500 million profiles. It has multi-channel email and LinkedIn automation, and it has reporting, so you know who you're having success with, as well as a team inbox, so you can aggregate all of your conversation management into one spot and really clean up your go-to-market. And very excited about releasing this white label product so that more folks can start to run their lead gen and sales development agencies on top of our technology.
Got it. If I summarize it, because I'm quite familiar with these kinds of tools, and actually you and I were discussing a week ago how my company, my agency, my outsourced SDR agency Top Leads could use Growth Genius to fuel its outreach effort. Basically, it's a database probably based on LinkedIn. So we have contacts there, name, emails, phone number, etc. And we can also send out emails and outreach in the platform. Obviously, Growth Genius also does LinkedIn outreach or automated outreach in there. So if I'd summarize it to any like new founders or entrepreneurs out there, like the basic notion of marketing is, hey, I'll do some ads here. I'll just put a couple ads on Google and see who will click, and then 1,000 will land on my landing page, 10 will send a contact form, and 1 might convert. Well, this approach here, it's more sniper type of outreach and sales. One could say, I wouldn't call it marketing, although we could, but this type of outreach I would highly recommend to new businesses, but also businesses that want to scale it, because I did both on my side. I did Facebook ads, I did email outreach, and what's cool about email outreach is that, yeah, you can target key accounts and you can really understand who you're talking to and convert them and influence them. What do you think about these two approaches? Although obviously if you're a big company, you want to A/B test both approach. What is your thinking on classic marketing to target a bunch vs outreaching via email, which is more sniper type of marketing?
Yeah, it's a great question, and something I've been trying to find the balance of over my years doing this. I think both are great. I think it's really important to build a brand, build an awareness, because there are serendipitous opportunities that come to you through kind of this one-to-many broad-based outreach. But then I think it's really important to go after those target accounts, because they often bring in some of those logo clients, as well as a lot of the revenue that keeps the business in business. But you wouldn't be able to land those accounts if you had not built a brand and do elsewhere. Yeah, I think both are important. Yeah.
Why did you decide to start this business? And like, I have your LinkedIn in front of me. You did lots of things, and I want to talk a bit later about like your sabbatical year. But why did you decide to launch Growth Genius?
Yeah. So my background is actually in finance and tech. I used to help family offices and high net worth individuals pick hedge funds for a little while, and then I went into actually getting a lot of my finance colleagues jobs in technology, kind of some of the more alternative folks, and through that process of building that business, building, so the business was called BitMaker Labs, which we subsequently sold to General Assembly as part of a kind of a larger roll-up. But the thing that kept me up at night was filling the next cohort to make sure that I could continue to pay the salaries of my team, continue to keep the operations going, and so what keeps insomnia while in the next cohorts. And so I really wanted to solve that problem for myself and my colleagues in their companies. And so what we found was this very effective way of finding new customers in a predictable, automated fashion. And it can kind of make the job of building a great product and a great company a little easier for small businesses.
Got it. I have the definition of, well, the description of BitMaker. I'm still like not super clear what BitMaker does. It says BitMaker is Canada's leading technology career accelerator. What does that mean?
Yeah, so we originally started as a 9-week boot camp. So basically something like 60 to 80 hours a week for 9 weeks. All you do is build technology, so applications, websites, kind of a variety of projects. And subsequently we help you get placed to companies like Shopify, IBM, Hootsuite. But it became a lot more than that. So we had workshops, we had part-time courses, we had kind of private placement and training at some of these companies as well. So it became a little bit of everything.
That's really interesting. Okay, so I have here, BitMaker was acquired by General Assembly and subsequently acquired by Adecco for $413 million. Do I read that right?
Yeah, that was part of a larger roll-up. General Assembly was able to put together a number of um, technology schools like BitMaker Labs,
Mm.
and put that together under kind of one global brand.
Okay, did you exited on this company? You did not, like, you weren't there when that happened in 2018, right? Or did you exit that company before your sabbatical? What happened there?
Yeah, so I had moved on to the next project before General Assembly was
Got it.
sold to Adecco.
Mm. So you
Um,
did you sell your share? Like, I want to understand like how the sabbatical came along. Like, can you make the transition here?
yeah, as part of the sale to General Assembly,
Okay.
um, there was kind of an earnout and other things.
Okay.
But at some point, I could see that what I'm really good at is starting new projects and kind of building something from scratch, and
Okay.
that's what I'm really excited about. So I got it over to a team that was very capable and good at kind of managing and running the location and repeating a lot of the processes that we built over the couple of years that we were together.
Got it. There's many like General Assembly branches. I mean, this is a huge business. When you started it, like how many co-founders were there in that business?
Oh, sorry, my internet cut out. Could you repeat that last one?
Yeah. Okay. Let me get that first. Did General Assembly started in Canada or did it start in the US first?
Yeah, they started in New York first.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So you were kind of, is it a franchise model? How does that work?
Yeah, as part of them picking us up, it
Okay.
was an acquisition. So they bought us for an undisclosed amount in
Mhm.
equity and cash, and we would join their team and their larger organization.
Okay. And your incubator was not named General Assembly. What was the name of your first incubator?
Bitmaker Labs.
Ah, got it. Okay, now it makes more sense in my brain. Sorry about that. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. And how many co-founders were there in that first BitMaker business?
Yeah, that was probably one of the more challenging parts. There's a lot of different direction in that. Four. We actually had four of us
Hmm.
on the founding team, and I think that made it quite difficult.
Got it. How do you, like, I have one business with another co-founder, and even that can be challenging. What size of business would you recommend? Would you only recommend to have one co-founder, aka two co-founders in one business? What is your opinion on that? And what is your opinions on the dynamics, how to make it successful?
Yeah, there's no hard and fast rule, but I've seen some of the more successful teams have three or less, and
Fearless.
three or less, and it really depends on the complementary skill sets that you have,
Mhm.
as well as do you share kind of a vision and ambition for what you want to do. So typically, I see the best teams have a technical co-founder and a
Mhm.
sales or marketing led co-founder.
Mhm.
Sometimes there are three. Sometimes there's a design founder and marketer.
Mhm.
Um, and then maybe an operations or finance person as well. So really depends. But as long as you have complementary skill sets, I think it works pretty well.
Got it. Let's transition to the sabbatical year. That sounds quite interesting to me, and I think it wasn't like purely sabbatical because you did some work there. But how did that came? Were you kind of burned out of everything, so you just said like I'm gonna take a year off, or were you just like flush with cash and you said, you know what, let's just travel the world and spend that thing? What was the mentality here?
A bit of A, bit of B. Uh, yeah. So obviously, startups take a lot out of you, and
Mhm.
at that point, I think I was pretty heads down, kind of running as fast as I could in one direction for a long time,
Mhm.
and I wanted to kind of rethink about what do I want to do next, what's important to me, as well as I think everyone should do a sabbatical.
Okay.
I think it doesn't even actually take a lot of cash to do it.
Mhm.
It's you can do it on a shoestring budget. You could do it very lavishly. There's everything in between, and I think it's really important to take time to breathe and stop jumping through hoops. I work in training culture to jump through kind of unwittingly. I've got to get really good grades in high school to get
Mhm.
a university education, and then I've got to do really well in university to get to a good career, a good job, but then I've got to jump through hoops to get the next promotion every couple of years, and so sometimes you can end up going in the wrong direction. I'm not saying I actually I got really lucky, but I did jump around quite a bit, and actually through this experience realized, do I really like entrepreneurship or should I be going back to the corporate world? All things that I didn't actually know until kind of the end of the sabbatical.
Mhm. Got it. What's your opinion? Like, for example, I am a digital nomad. I've been traveling the world while working for the past 4 years. It has good and bad. When you try to combine two things, and that's classic me. I try to be good at everything at the same time. Not everyone is good at that, but sometimes you miss actually traveling to those countries because I work during the week and I explore during the weekend, one could say. So, what's your opinion on a pure sabbatical in which like you don't work, but I think you did work, vs a digital nomad that does this full time?
Yeah, I think I know this is maybe a politically correct answer, but there's a time and place for everything. I think that you can work and travel in harmony forever, in perpetuity. So
Yeah.
um, but you have to find, for me, and it sounds like you found the same, community or team that you really like being a part of. If you find a group of people that you connect with and you can come back and have conversations, in person or remote, I think that's what's important.
Mhm.
So yeah, as long as you find community, I think you're pretty well set.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool lesson here. Coming back to Growth Genius, how big is the team right now, and where do you want to bring it in the next few years?
Yeah, it's 25 people right now, and you know we do have some fairly aggressive growth goals. We'd love to be up over $10 million in revenue but I think more importantly, we would like to be working with 10,000 small businesses, and to do that, you need to have very good software, and need to have a very good go-to-market,
Mm.
and provide a very good service, because I think the name of the game in software is repeat business, and in order to do that, you have to have very good customer service, like we were talking about before this call. It sounds like you have a very good customer success team, and we want to deliver great outcomes for people. And what that means to me is that our clients never have to worry about new business again. So I want to help 10,000 companies never have to worry about new business again.
Quite interesting. Do you have an Elon master plan with Growth Genius?
Great question. Yes, and have written it down once or twice. Yeah, I mean, let's see. We started the first time we started to write software. We actually built it in a vacuum, which was not the right move, right? So a lot of people build software and don't have an audience or folks to give you the feedback, and so we went service first to get back around to the software. So that's the first step. One is build a service that could be automated, so that you can understand people's problems and build a really good quality solution with an audience in mind. The next step is to build the software that automates the service. And then the next step is to enable often channel partners or people who do the copywriting and go to market really well, enable them to serve their customers better than they would otherwise. And then the last line is, we think that kind of sales is going to be more or less fully automated in the not too distant future. It just means that all the back and forth that a person would spend time doing, everything from list building to copywriting to back and forth, is going to be automated in the not too distant future. So yeah, we're planning and building for that.
Got it. I'm on your kind of blog here, authorcloud.co/will-richman-resume. You have a couple of points here, which I find interesting and which I want to discuss. So you like the 2010 paradigm was 120 hours a week, profitability and focus on growth, aka we work, and we can see like how that's paid off. Bay Area or bust. So again, we work, tried that, failed, hustle or die trying. The new paradigm would be first work, however much feel right. I want to start with that point here. Do you think someone that works, say, 40 hours a week and have a life and be balanced in other life areas can be as much productive as someone that puts 120?
Some people are such high achievers that they can probably squeeze a ton of productivity out of a full 100 hours. I think for most, though, that the right balance lies somewhere in the 30 to 60 hours a week.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But I think the epiphany for me was the difference between output and outcomes. So an outcome is an outcome is a quality conversation, a sales conversation, a closed deal. Someone being very happy with their experience, versus an output might be activities like how many people you reached out to, how many how many sales conversations. That's not the best thing. Output is basically someone doing a manual task and not thinking about what they're really trying to achieve. And so I think with clever automation and clever systems design, you can get better outcomes with less effort. So I think a great programmer might be able to achieve many thousands times more than a person who is just going about their job, not thinking about what they're really doing. So what I'm trying to say is, I think there's a lot of leverage out of very clever systems.
Got it.